The government have announced the self-employment support. That's what we've been chatting about tonight. We have been battling some bad signal and some broadcast interruptions, and I've been using these sort of karate chop maneuvers to get us back online. And Jack has been pedaling hard behind the scenes, so apologies for the loss of service. We're going to have another go, and just to sort of catch up on where we're at, I think the flavour of the team is that the support that's been announced by the government is about as good as it can get. And I think we're in a great position compared to other countries. However, there are some people that are feeling a little bit sore because it's based on the 1819 tax return. So if you haven't done a tax return yet, i.e. you launched your business in April of this year, you're not going to qualify for that support, in which case the benefit system, if you're strapped for cash, is the place where you have to go. And we've been talking about how do you react when a big piece of news comes in and you've got to cope with it and deal with it, especially if it knocks you sideways. And it's a bit like grieving, isn't it? It's a bit like I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling angry, and we go through that whole change curve process. That's the stuff we've been chatting about tonight. And KC, you were just saying that you've got a business that's in your area that you were doing. You started off doing a bit of corona judging, and you saw a business that was open. What happened? Tell us what happened.
Well, I was out for my one walk, and I noticed there's a small florist near us, and I was walking down and noticed the doors were open, and it appeared to be open. So I'm there.
Shame on them.
I know. So I'm chuntering to myself. Oh, it shouldn't be open. What they're doing, judging. Deciding that I knew everything and decided to condemn them to not being part of the, the way that we're all banding together and doing this properly. So yeah, getting angry as I'm walking towards them, and then noticed that they've actually got a big sign up that says fresh fruit and veg. So they've got a lovely display of lovely apples, the whole thing. I don't need to actually name all, do you? You know what I mean? Fresh fruit and veg. Just name all the individual.
No, let's name it. No, let's name it individually.
Does everybody know what fruit and veg is?
No. Never seen
so they've changed. They've realised that they couldn't open, and they've changed. And I just think that is the simplicity of it, and the genius of it is really inspired me today. Now, I didn't actually buy anything because by the time I'd stopped sort of moaning and then tried to process what I saw, I'd gone past. But it is on our route, and I intend to buy our bananas from there tomorrow. But I'm just so impressed. So they've also got all their probably leftover flowers. You can see all the plants in the back. They're open. They're trading. People were buying stuff from them, and it was happening. And that is what, I don't know, business strategists called a pivot. And I think it's beautiful. And I was really impressed with it.
I love that. There's been a few examples of that. Paul, Paul, you've got an online business, but have you felt that you needed to pivot and do things differently in the last couple of weeks, or is it kind of business as usual for you? Where's your head at?
Yeah, business as usual for me, if I'm completely honest. And I feel very lucky for that. The one thing that I have noticed, one thing I noticed, sadly though, and you get it all the time, is that suddenly every man and their dog's jumping on the bandwagon of all this make money online stuff, which it's been very scary, really very scary, because a lot of these people who are doing that aren't going to be around for very long. But yeah, it has. I've been very lucky. It has given me the opportunity to be very productive in regards to what I'm doing, courses, books, and the usual sort of things I do. I suppose one of the bigger things that I've noticed, and again, it fascinates me, the amount of people I've seen on LinkedIn, on all different platforms, now suddenly saying, I need to get online. And it fascinates me in regards to the internet isn't new, and I'm very kind of, because of anyone who's come to any of the pop-ups that I've done, sort of know my story of having that office and things went wrong to then starting online in 2008 with a recession. So I was fortunate to be online long enough. But what I want to say to people from a positive point of view is that I really hope people take this as the time to put the business online. What I was going to say is that, you know, a lot of people, we are creatures of habit. You know, and for most people, people need that sense of routine, and that isn't what we've got right now. We haven't got that. It's completely different, you know, and it's easy to stay the same rather than change. But Casey mentioned something a minute ago. Yeah, we're business owners, we're entrepreneurs. The reason why we go into this is because the way we think, generally the way we think, is different to the average employee. So it's a great time to be creative and accept change. Yes, change takes effort. I get that. A lot of people, it's that fear of the unknown. But like now, you know, this is what we're doing now. You know, it's new to PopUp. We've embraced it, and we're getting on with it. So I would just try and encourage people to embrace it, to accept it, go with it. And this happens, you know, it's the recessions come. There's always a 10 to 15 year dip between them. Maybe this is it. I don't know. But I do just think people, if they can, from a positive point of view, really try and embrace the online world as much as they can.
So I might ask you some questions in a bit, Paul, because I know that you've, anyone that's been to one of your pop-ups will know that you've written a couple of books, haven't you? I think you might have mentioned that once or twice in a pop-up. I've had someone's tipped me the wink that you might have mentioned it. But Jack, I know that you've got some skills around self-publishing, and you've explored that mechanics. And I know that that John Card, if he's not watching, he'll watch back tomorrow, is going to give us some advice about the writing bit. But I know that you've got some knowledge about the mechanics of turning a book into either an ebook or a physical book through self-publishing options. But I want to come to Alan, because something that you mentioned, Paul, was about you know, some. I think you were sort of indicating that every man and his dog, and every woman and their cat or dog, or indeed other animals, are going online and potentially creating courses and selling things to people that are perhaps less than value add. But it's okay though, because we can trust the banks, can't we, Alan? The banks have been offering some help out to people, and they've ramped up their advertising. I know that this is your favorite subject. Tell me what's happened to you with your local friendly bank.
Are you trying to wind me up, Simon? Because I will take them down. I think so. Paul's actually right. At this time, there are some unscrupulous companies that are going to take advantage of the situation. And they're going to be selling stuff that maybe they shouldn't. They're going to be taking advantage of people's desperation. There is a lot of unscrupulous behaviors that's going to come, and we've got to be careful. My bank actually texted me, and their marketing budget they've spent on sending me a text message saying, oh, we'll give you 1 month of free overdraft. So I can use my overdraft until April, whatever it is. And then what do they expect me to do? So they're going to tempt me to borrow money and then expect me to pay it back from the new job I've got and the extra money I've earned in the next month. I just think they're trying to put us in debt at times. And you look at some of these loan schemes. Katie got a message from her business bank today offering her use of the government loan scheme for small businesses. And they're offering you money, which is very tempting when you're desperate. And it's difficult to even know what interest rates they charge. There's been reports that one of the banks that's government approved is going to charge 22% interest on these loans. I am shocked at how businesses and some of the banks are taking advantage of this situation. And my message is debt is a last resort. Debt is a last resort. Do anything you can other than go into debt. Let's club together, let's share food, let's work together, let's sell more, let's spend less, let's rely on benefits, let's use the government schemes, anything but debt. And I think I want to call for everyone in our community to be vigilant of the companies and the unscrupulous offers that are going forwards.
I'm with Alan on that one. I I think when
That's twice
as a-
tonight, Katie.
I know. I'm not feeling too well. I'm with Alan. I agree with everything Alan says. My invoice is due to be paid. I'm with Alan. I don't know what I'm with Alan about now. All I can think is that Paul looks like, who do you look like? You look like that boy with that bloke with the beard, Russell Brand. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand.
Everyone at the courses have been saying that. I
can't concentrate on what you're saying. I'm just thinking, bloody hell, you look like Russell Brand. Right, I was talking about the banks. To me, the loans, and I was reading today about the loans from the bank, from the government, and that's the one. Once it's government backed, because there's so much information coming to us at the moment, and I am trying to understand it, and then the loan stuff goes through, and anything that's backed by the government, it's that seal of approval. It's like, oh, they're trying to do the right thing. This is something maybe I should consider, and I think no, don't, because in the end, it's exactly what Alan's saying. I'm agreeing again, Alan, is that there's personal guarantees there. So if you do take, and don't, but if you did, it's a personal guarantee. The government aren't guaranteeing for you. They stand behind you. They stand behind you. You stand there with your personal guarantee. So they'll want your house as a personal guarantee before you take any of this. And you're taking a loan in such a difficult time. So don't do it. And in terms of the benefits and the help that we get, we can rely on it maybe to prop us up, but it's up to us as small business people. It's up to us as entrepreneurs to go forward. It may just help us through and keep us from sinking, but it's not going to allow us to thrive. We have to thrive. So that was my piece that was really about agreeing with Alan and your bit.
I really want to add into that about the personal guarantee bit. This is actually what screwed up my parents' finance. Was a guarantee they took on a loan that my dad forced my mum to sign, and that's why we lost the family home. And I can see a whole new generation of people being put in exactly the same situation. And you do have to sign a personal guarantee for most of the banks. There are a couple of ethical banks out there that are actually trying to help, but most of them want a personal guarantee. And if you look at who's actually liable, the government have said they will protect 80% of the money for the bank. But here's how it goes. You borrow the money. If you don't pay it back, the bank first goes for your assets.
Absolutely.
Stocks, shares, house, cat, car, whatever, they will take it. And if they don't get enough back, they can go to the government to cover 80% of it. So actually the people who stand to lose are the people who borrow, then the British public, and only afterwards the banks. So they've de-risked lending money for the banks. They're going to be out there lending as much as they can because they've got no real risk. And I am shocked by this.
The banks are in the best position. Absolutely the best position. There's no problems for them at all. And they're marketing, and they can be very persuasive. You know, they're good at marketing. They've got, they've got all teams of people who spend every day looking at ways to message us in different ways to get, to make the decisions, to tick yes and to fill the form in and take the money. At this time as well, where we are looking for help, for leadership, for guidance, it's a confusing time. It's the worst time ever. So people are going to make some awful decisions. And if I always say this when I'm doing pop-up, if there's one person who watches this stream who does not take a loan today, I think we've done a good job. If we change one person's mind, because it really is not the thing we should be doing.
Chris from the US has talked about they've seen encouragement to help clients apply for loans to make a great new revenue stream, and it's making him pretty sad. Hannah thinks we should stay away from them. Brucey's apologized for being late. That's okay, Brucey. You missed the stilted performance due to the connection. And Kate has mentioned, Kate in Bridgend has mentioned, Alan, that your blog post was taken down by Facebook, you think, when you were talking about this issue earlier on today. Is that what's happened? Tell me what happened.
Yeah, so Facebook removed my post about bad debt and unscrupulous companies. They took my post down. They marked it as spam and said that I was spamming people and trying to sell them stuff.
Wow.
The irony.
So I felt quite strongly about that. and I'm actually desperate to get this message out there that avoid debt at all costs during this time. It's the last option, and we need to take other options first. And I would rather you lost your pride and took benefits than took debt. And that's the same advice I need to hear as well. We need to look elsewhere first. Yeah, so Facebook took down my post. There's no reason why. There's no way to argue it. No button to say appeal. But yeah, someone's made a decision, or a computer program has, and I'm feeling quite down and annoyed.
I'm feeling sorry for Facebook right now. What do you think? There's a bit of love for the Russell Brand look coming from Wales, Paul, but let's skip by that. And I'm sure you've got some value to add as well.
I just want to add something in there as well. So again, just briefly, so I started in business in 2006, and that all closed and lost and everything else. When I started again in 2008, I went on benefits for the first time in my life. Again, there was a little bit of male pride. I didn't want to. My dad, bless him, said to me, "Stop being stupid. You paid your national insurance. Go and do it." So I just want to say that, I think Alan said it, that forget your pride. There's nothing wrong in doing it. Okay. At the time when I got help, I think it was £62.50 a week, something like that. I also I had the opportunity, I was receiving housing benefit as well to eventually help pay. And I was on that for, I think it's 18 months or 2 years, maybe even a bit more. So again, I'm just sort of saying, and I started business throughout that. So I'm just sort of saying, that Simon said at to start, we've all made mistakes. That's why we do what we do. We've learned from them. But if I hadn't have done that, I really don't know where I would have been. I probably would have ended up getting a job or going back to something. I don't know. But I just want to say that again, please, if you're sat there thinking I shouldn't go on benefits, please don't. It's a fantastic opportunity, and we're very lucky to have it. Please make the most of what is on offer. Yes,
because we've all been paying into that system. We've been paying national insurance for some of us for decades.
Yeah.
And we're using that money for this purpose.
Yeah.
Agreed. So I agree with Alan.
That's 4. One more, you get a hamper.
You're best.
Hey, listen, we've got Brucey's kind of saying that the average Joe Blogs is going to end up in trouble during this period if they make those kind of decisions to take loans. And I think the message is coming through loud and clear. As an absolute last resort, avoid this stuff as much as you can, especially those companies that are putting out 22%. If that's true, I'm going to find that company and we'll do a little blog post about that. But luckily, there are some ethical banks out there doing the right thing, and we're going to find them too. Jolene from the Kent Mafia is watching. Hey, Jolene, part of the pop-up team. Tom Tiffin has said that he's watching this. He's had a bit of a rubbish day. And I think there's a real mix of stuff that's coming through at the moment. And we're all on this roller coaster ride. We had a tough call tonight, and I was feeling it a little bit tonight. Last Monday, for half the day, I was a mess. What do you do if you've had a tough day? What's the strategy? How do you, we were talking about the change curve and coming to terms with the grief of and the shock of what's going on at the moment. What do you do if you've had a tough day?
Go out for a walk. My personal recommendation. We're allowed to go out at least once now. Go out for a walk, clear your head, step away from everything. But also reach out to your network, whether it's friends, family. My parents are in their 70s, and one thing, we're very close, but one thing that we are doing is FaceTiming. Initially, it just started off as a call every other day just to see if they was okay. It's now FaceTiming, so they can, so we can see each other. So we're doing that a lot. So it actually feels there is that connection. It's not just a text or a phone call. Alan touched on it earlier. I'm very big, just even if it's doing 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes of exercise. Again, if you've already been out, if you've got a house, run up and down the stairs, go in the garden, and but it would be my.
Alan, what's your strategy when you had a bad day?
What's my strategy when I've had a bad day? It depends how bad it is as to how long the period I give myself to feel it. I actually think it's really important to allow yourself to feel these feelings, because negative emotions aren't bad. They're there for a reason. Feel it, accept it, think about it. We just don't want to linger there. And I think my biggest piece of advice right now is avoid using the language I am. Because if you say I am sad, I am depressed, you're attaching it to your identity and it will linger longer. What I want you to try and do instead is use I am experiencing sadness. I'm experiencing a bit of depression. I'm experiencing some upset. Go through it, come back up the other side. And I think it's really important not to associate these powerful emotions that we're going through right now with our identity, because they're emotions, they pass, they come, they go. And the tools Paul have said will help get you back out the other side. And just by saying I'm experiencing it. So I have, over the last few days, experienced some sadness. And that's okay.
I've written that down, Alan, and I agree with Russell. I agree with both of you. So I've got nothing to say. No, seriously. I do agree with both of you. But I've got to tell you what I've been doing. So I've been doing the exercise. I've been doing the walks. I've doing that. I've been doing the anchoring. I've been doing all the stuff I'm supposed to do. And I've been watching American Idol. And it's really good fun. I'm going to be honest. I've really enjoyed it. I can't stop watching it. It goes on for ages. Even the kids give up. It's like an hour and a half an episode. And it's one after the other. And I just love it. And it's really good fun. And I've just enjoyed it. American Idol. Starring Katy Perry and Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie. Now, how good does he look? Anyway.
Lionel's in it. Well, now you tell me.
It's quality. And it makes me laugh and it makes me happy. And it makes me cry as well. So yeah, American Idol. There's my tip.
I tell you what we've also been doing. So we've got several WhatsApp groups with different groups of friends, and we've been using them to send so much humor throughout the days, whether it's videos, different pictures. It has been absolutely hysterical. It's been really, really good. So normally I'm not a massive fan of WhatsApp groups because all the pinging and everything else drives me mad. But this has been great. It really has. You know, it's like I say, both Rue and I are self-employed, so we're experiencing this. But having that, little funny videos, images, it's been great. So, you know, try and laugh as much as you can, find humor. If it means going onto YouTube and finding funny videos, do so. I think Alan mentioned last night about smiling. You know, it's just keeping that smile on our face and laughing as much as we possibly can.
Amen to that. Yeah, TikTok's my new weapon of choice. The kids have introduced me to TikTok.
Oh, God.
And there is just some phenomenal creativity on there. That keeps me going. Russell, a.k.a. Pat Test from Kent, has suggested naked yoga. And we all know where that suggestion came from, Alan.
Yes, I've been practicing naked yoga every day. I've been saving washing and doing my bit for the environment. And I've actually been time-lapsing it. If anyone's interested, inbox me, I'll send you a message.
Rarely have I been speechless in the last 10 days. No, wait a minute. I'm speechless several times a day. Never mind that. So I guess Brucey's in the same arena as you. He's been hunting for his toy duck over the last 10 minutes, which is perhaps the most interesting way of watching our live streams. But anyway, there's a couple of comments on here about people making videos, and Matt Esley, who's a friend of PopUp, is going to be helping us out with that over the next couple of weeks. What do you need to think about when you're making videos and posting them online? How does the YouTube algorithm work? How can you get paid for affiliate links through the videos that you post? He's got the good, the bad, and the ugly of that stuff. And there's a few comments on here, and I've actually experienced this myself, of making videos and posting them on social media has actually been a hell of a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be, now that I've actually committed to it properly. So I think, 3 or 4 years ago, I'd be going, oh no, I have to do a video. I'm not looking forward to this. Let's just get it done. But now we've sort of stepped into a new world of make video, post video. I know that Kate's been doing them. There was someone else, I think it was Rachel Flack. Rachel said that she's been making videos and she's enjoyed them a hell of a lot more. Maybe it was Joanne actually as well. I think Joanne, yeah, both Joanne and Rachel are saying, make the videos, stick them online. And I think, you know, once you've had a shock and you're dealing with it and now you've got yourself in a good headspace, and it's going to be a roller coaster, and let's just accept it. When the energy levels are up, that's when you're going to be ready to create something and come up with a new idea. Paul, you've had some experience of self-publishing and going through that mechanism. What are your top tips of, not so much the writing, because we're going to come onto that in a future episode, but once you've written something down and you think I could turn this into an ebook or turn it into a physical book, what have your experiences been, and what tips could you give people on that?
So the first thing I'd say is that I see a lot of people, as always, overcomplicating things and overthinking things. When we do social media day on PopUp, we say, one of the bits we talk about is saying that content is king. There is so much content out there in the world now. You do not even have to create your own content. So I posted something in our PopUp team the other day. It was a picture that I see on Instagram, and it was an image talking about the companies that set up in the last recession in 2008. It was like Uber, Airbnb, WhatsApp, Pinterest, and all of that sort of thing. So instantly when I see that, I was like, there's a fantastic piece of content there. So I'm in, obviously, like the business development arena, industry niche, whatever we want to call it. So when I see that, I thought, that's a great bit of content. We're suddenly in a situation where people, self-employed, as we spoke about, are panicking, are worrying. But it was like, how could we turn that into a good bit of content that's positive? So I looked at that and I kind of thought, okay, what could I do here? There's a headline that says, let's say, successful businesses that set up in 2008. The headline's there already. Then you could then come up with things like, the 4 traits of a successful business that started in a recession. The 6 reasons why you could overcome the recession by starting a new business.
Where do you go, Paul? Just to interrupt you. Sorry, Paul. Just to interrupt you. Where do you go once you've captured that stuff and you think, I've got a few thousand words here. I'd like to whack it in an ebook and stick it on a Kindle and other such technology. How does that system work? What's the process that you went through?
So initially, again, just very simply write it on a Word document, get it out, just create a header, write it out. When you go to save that document, it gives you the opportunity to save it as a PDF. When you save it as a PDF, that then becomes an ebook. It's a digital product. You can then go on to different sites like Fiverr.com, Upwork, those sort of things. You could publish it on there. One of the biggest things that I've done, I know we talk about the Dream 100, but I look at the Dream 100 in a slightly different way in regards to when I started the business. I set up a Dream 100, as in a Dream 100 partners. I knew who my clientele were, so I looked for people who had my clientele. So when I create a product, I reach out to them. I've built up the relationships. I reach out to them and say, I've got a product that I think will solve a problem for your audience. I'm going to send you a copy. Feel free to send it out. So that's how that is as simple as I do it. Just write a Word document, save it as a PDF. You can obviously within there, you can put your website URL in there and hand it out to people for them to share with your audience.
Okay, nice. Alan, you've had some experience monetizing the blog. I remember one of your early blog posts was about figuring out the money side of doing a post, and what did you learn from that, and what would you do differently now that you've been doing it a while?
Well, I think that first blog post was very excitingly titled I made 27 pence online. But it's all got to start somewhere. What have I learned? Actually, there's many different ways to monetize a blog, and not all of them are right. You can just Google top ways to make money out of a blog. There's affiliates, there's sponsorship of the blog, there is actively selling something on your blog, like Paul said, with selling an ebook, you can't sell events anymore. That's basically what we did online for a long time, at least not for a couple of months anyway. You might be able to pre-sell the tickets for your event that's coming up in December, who knows? But that's a risky strategy currently. Sure. But it's about making those sales. Actually, a surprise income for me recently, and it's not huge, couple of £100, has been Audible. And if someone chooses a book through your website that you've recommended and then goes and signs up for an Audible free account, you get £5 a time. And that's been a surprise little income, which has paid for a few breakfast burritos and different things and kept me in some money recently. But I think it's about, at the root of it, thinking, how do you help the people that are reading? And if you can help them, whether that's with a product, a service, an idea, that's the root of all this. The more you help, the more that comes back.
Yeah.
Have you ever been tempted, Katie, because you've got this wealth of knowledge and experience from your business life and the events company that you ran? Have you ever been tempted to whack it all in a book and sell it, or are you going to steer away from that?
I've never even considered it, to be honest. The whole idea of going online and doing this type of stuff was a frog, something that I avoid. On the few occasions that PopUp asked me to do a Facebook Live, I'd sort of go, yeah, okay. And then inside I'd be going, no, I don't want to do this. And now I'm like, can't wait. All I've talked about all day in between watching American Idol and reading the Chancellor's press release is the fact that I've told everybody, I've been FaceTiming all my friends today, telling everybody, no one's interested, tell everybody that I'm online tonight. And I've got this new career where I just talk to myself, a picture of myself on the screen, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So it's this opportunity, I see as a real opportunity for me. And I like to talk about myself. So maybe I would now look into doing a book. I don't know. I'll do anything now after this. So yeah, I could talk about a lot of things that we did in that business. And there's a lot of crying. So I don't know what the question was, but the answer is American Idol.
Write that down.
And you agree with
Katie. Okay, so look, I've had a couple of messages from people tonight going, today's been tough. I had a friend of mine, an accountant, sent me a message saying, I've had so many calls and emails from my clients and they're in tears. I feel like crying. But actually, I think what's going through my mind is that there's anger and frustration and that grieving process of what's happening at the moment. Actually, to summarize some of the stuff we've been saying about the government support, it's a hell of a lot better than most other countries. And I think there is some stuff there for most of us. And if we can get ourselves into a good place, it's time to create something, isn't it? And make use of this time, pivot, adapt. And Clive's business, the food business, is doing ready meals at home, and he's got this delivery thing going and so on. That's not what he set out to do. It's completely different from his first business model, but he's on the front foot creating and coming up with new ideas. I guess that's where my head is, and I think that's what's kept me sane over the last couple of weeks, is that coming up with new ideas and solving problems and figuring out how to help people and so on. That's the stuff that's kept me kind of focused and in a good place. I just wonder if you had any closing thoughts. I'm going to come to Alan first. Closing thoughts, Alan. What's on your mind about the stuff that's happened today, both in terms of the wider world and what you've experienced in our business today? What's on your mind?
So I think I've got two closing thoughts. One is based on what you've just said. I read a blog post which was stop consuming, start creating. and I know Katie will be against this because of American Idol, but I think if you can switch off Netflix, switch off some of the TV, switch off some of this other stuff, and put your energy into building your future, I think you'll come out of this stronger than you went into it. And my second thought is watch out for the sharks, because there are some sharks circling right now to take advantage of this situation. Be careful of who offers you debt. And the people out there have some lovely code words for debt, like funding, overdraft, loan. It's all debt. And they sink you in it and have you paying it back for a long time. So watch out for the sharks and get creating.
Katie, do you agree with Alan?
I agree with Alan, but he's wrong about Netflix. I mean, obviously don't have them all, and American Idol's quite good. Sorry, I'm going to be sensible. This is important, isn't it? I'm trying my best. I'll tell you what I've been doing, and I've written it down just in case I forget, so that's why I'm turning over here. Is that I'm asking myself, and this is something I do with my thoughts. So when I have thoughts which aren't, if they're negative and I'm maybe spiraling or I'm watching too much news, I ask myself, is this helping me? So, and if the answer is no, I try and let it go or stop doing it. So if I'm watching too much social media or too much American Idol, I'll go, is this helping me? Currently today, it's really helped me. I've really enjoyed it. But some of the things aren't helping. So is this helping your business? Is this helping your mental health? Is this helping my community? Is this helping my family? The actions that you're doing, is it helping? Who's it helping? And if you can try and help as many people, including yourself, as you can, through this thing, I think that it can only lead to good. So yeah, I'm asking myself, am I helping? Is this helping? And American Idol has helped. So thank you.
Let's write them an email tonight. Paul, what's your top tip?
Yeah, I think what I would just say to people is, even if the business that you've set up isn't going to plan because of what's happening, I just want everyone to realize and understand that you are all experts in something. And what I mean by that is the knowledge that we have in here is unbelievable, whether that's through mistakes we've made or whatever. And I promise you that going into business, we are problem solvers. That's what we are good at. We solve problems. Your experiences, your mistakes over the years can solve problems. So you might have started a dog walking business and right now you might be limited. But I promise you there's ways that you could look at that and spin it in regards to, why someone needs a dog walker or whatever it is. Use your knowledge and expertise to create content, to put it out there. Like I said, we're problem solvers and we're here to help people. One of the most popular quotes that I've always tried to remember from Zig Ziglar, you will get all you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. Yes. And like Alan said, you have to stop going out there and purchasing. The first mentor that I ever got in 2010 said that to me. Stop being a purchaser, a buyer, and start being a creator. But remember, we're here to help, and all of you have got what it takes to solve problems and help people. Give without expecting anything back, guys.
Thank you very much, everybody. So look, here's the thing. Please, can you share with your friends and family that have got a business or they're self-employed freelancers, because we're just at the beginning of a content creation journey. We've created a business survival guide, which is on our website. And I'm sure Jack will post in the group, if he hasn't already, that on popupbusinessschool.co.uk/survival-guide, we have got all of the content that we're creating and that we have already created. Things on here like looking at after your mental health in isolation. What can you build whilst you're quarantined? A brilliant post by Alan. We've got how should small businesses react to coronavirus, and we've got all sorts of other content planned. How to make videos, how to get your book published, how to write a book for those people that are thinking, I've got a book in me and I've got some extra time I wasn't expecting. Now's the time to create once we've got ourselves in a good headspace. So thank you everybody for watching and for listening, if you're listening, and God bless you, Katie Coombs in Manchester, Sir Alan Donegan, who's not a sir, but he is now in New Orleans, and Russell Brand, aka Paul Wakefield. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. And please continue the conversation in the thread because we want to hear from you too. Have a great evening, everybody. We'll be back online live stream next Tuesday. Have a great weekend.
I'm off to do naked yoga. Goodbye.
Oh no, not again.